As we all know, getting a BTO requires luck. To maximize your chances of securing an HDB BTO flat, you must leverage specific HDB priority schemes, apply for less contested town, and strategically monitor live application rates before submitting your application. While the computerized ballot ultimately relies on random number generation, executing these targeted strategies will heavily tip the odds in your favor. Now, let's discuss the different strategies you can take depending on your situation. The first one would be strategy for first-timer couples with no kids yet. Your main objective is to protect your first-timer status and maximize the first-timer parent and married couples or FTPMC advantages if you plan to have children in the near future. So what you can do is that you can trigger the FTPMC status early. If you are legally married and expecting a child or have a citizen child age 18 or below, you automatically join the highest priority tier. This bumps your baseline from 2 to 3 ballot chances. And then you can also stack with the proximity scheme. Apply for a project located within 4 kilometers of your parents' or in-laws' home. This simultaneously enters you into the Family Care Scheme or FCS pool, doubling your exposure in the ballot machine. And then what you can do is to select a non-mature estate. While attractive, prime and plus flats do not accumulate additional ballot chances if you fail. So stick to the standard flats in non-mature or emerging estates. If you fail twice for a standard flat, you get one extra ballot chance on your third attempt. Another strategy you could try would be to be flexible with flat size. So 4-room flat is typically very competitive. But if you have the budget for it, actually 5-room flat tends to be less desirable nowadays. Just based on past application rate, 5-room nowadays have typically lower application rate versus 4-room, which is interesting. Or if you are not planning to have kids, statistically, 2-room flexi application rate for first-timer families and second-timer families are always very low even for mature estates. Now let's discuss the strategy for families with kids. As a family with children, you hold the highest legal priority in the HDB framework. Your strategy should center around flat supply reservation quotas. So what you can do is leverage the FPPS allocation quota. So, up to 40% of BTO flat supply is set aside exclusively for the Family and Parenthood Priority Scheme or FPPS. You are competing in a heavily protected smaller pool of applicants compared to the general public. And then you can also activate the Third Child Priority Scheme if it's applicable for your family. If you have 3 or more citizen children, try applying under TCPS. Up to 5% of the BTO supply is earmarked for this. Your application is balloted under TCPS first, and if unsuccessful, it is automatically rolled over into the FPPS pool, giving you a second bite at the apple. And then you can also utilize joint balloting with grandparents. If your parents are also looking to downsize or relocate, use the FCS joint balloting feature. You can submit a combined application to secure 2 separate flats in the exact same BTO project, ensuring childcare support is right next door. Another strategy is to apply for standard flats. While prime and plus flats are typically very desirable, if let's say you just want a roof over your head as soon as possible, then the reality is the application rate in non-mature estates typically still lower versus mature estates. So for example, if you want a 4-room flat, then statistically you have better odds when applying to non-mature estates. Or another option would be to pivot to sale of balanced flats or SBF. If BTO launches are too competitive, look out for the SBF exercises. Usually it is launched every February. While units are limited, but applicants with kids have better chances to secure a flat in SBF process. You can also bypass the long construction waiting times if you manage to secure a flat in SBF. Now let's discuss the strategy for single applicants aged 35 and above. So the harsh reality is singles do face the tightest constraints under HDB policy, making strategic timing and project selection absolutely critical. The first strategy that you can do is to aim for 2-room flexi flats in non-mature estates. Even though singles are now eligible to buy 2-room flexi in any estates, including mature estates, but mature estate naturally have higher competition rate. So I would suggest to focus your efforts entirely on standard projects in emerging or non-mature areas where the volume of two-room units is highest and multi-generational family demand is lowest. Another strategy you can implement is the final hour application rate tactic. Because your options are tightly squeezed, you cannot afford to waste an application on oversubscribed project. So why don't you wait until, let's say, the last 1 or 2 days before the application window close? Log into the HDB portal and check the live application to flat ratios specifically filtered for singles. Or visit this channel because I typically discuss application rate as well. Then apply for the town with the lowest application rate that is offering two-room flexi for single. The next strategy you can consider is the joint single scheme or JSS. If you are open to it, apply together with another single citizen friend. Up to 35% of the two-room flexi flat supply in non-mature estates is allocated for singles, and applying jointly can sometimes provide better financial leverage for loan applications, though it does not explicitly alter the ballot weight. Now you might wonder, as a single person, should you wait and apply for SBF instead? Well, based on past SBF application rate, my honest suggestion is no. Data has shown over and over again that the application rate for singles in the BTO process is lower than SBF. Although of course it boils down to luck, but statistically, I would recommend singles to apply for a BTO instead of SBF. Or, if you can't wait further, resale is also an option. Next, let's discuss the strategy for second-timer families to secure a BTO. So securing a BTO flat as a second-timer family can feel like an uphill battle since HDB naturally allocates the lion's share of units to first-timers. However, the odds have turned significantly in your favor recently because HDB has bumped up the BTO allocation quota for second-timer families by 5 percentage points. This means up to 20% of 3-room standard flats and up to 10% of 4-room or larger flats across standard plus and prime projects are now strictly reserved for second-timers. While you are still competing with other repeat buyers, the bigger pool of units means your baseline chances are much healthier from the get-go. To actively tilt the scales, your absolute best move is to leverage family priority schemes rather than relying on the open public ballot. If you are planning to live with or within 4-kilometer radius of your parents, you can apply under the Family Care Scheme or FCS proximity, which locks you into a smaller dedicated ballot pool with drastically better odds. Alternatively, if your parents are also looking to right size or move, you can use the FCS joint balloting scheme to apply together for 2 flats in the same BTO project. If you have a larger household with 3 or more children, make sure to tap into the Third Child Priority Scheme or TCPS, as its allocation quota has been doubled to up to 10% of the flat supply. Finally, a little bit of strategic flexibility goes a long way. During the week-long BTO application window, keep a close eye on the live oversubscription rates updates throughout the day on the HDB flat portal or in this channel. Opting for non-mature estates or choosing slightly less popular flat size, let's say even 2-room flexi, will naturally face much less competition. Avoid the temptation of heavy bidding wars in hyper-popular areas if your priority is simply securing a home quickly. Going where the crowd is not is the oldest but the most reliable trick in the book. But what do you think? Do you have any other tips to increase your BTO chances? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.